I'll start by working on my lemons. We will be juicing all 6 of them, but before that I want to peel the zest off. A box grater works great for this. Make sure you don't grate the same area too much or you'll start grating the pith as well. The pith is bitter, so we don't want that in the final product. Once you've removed most of the zest, cut them in half and squeeze out as much juice as you can. We're going for about 2/3 of a cup of lemon juice, so feel free to juice more or less lemons as needed. Pour the milk into a bowl of your choice. Then add in the lemon juice and stir to combine. The chemical reaction that takes place helps to create a softer and fluffier cake. You will see the milk start to curdle, but don't worry, this is supposed to happen. Set that aside. Next, grab either a large bowl or the bowl of your stand mixer. Add in the butter and then beat on medium speed for a couple minutes using the paddle attachment. Then pour in the sugar. Make sure you scrape the bowl down to keep things running smoothly. Then add in the lemon zest. At this point, you can also add in your first egg. You want to make sure that you add the eggs in slowly so that your batter doesn't separate. In baking, separation of the batter means that the butter or other form of fat has seized up because of the excess of liquid or cold temperatures. Cold eggs can also cause cake batter to curdle. To avoid this, let your eggs sit out a while before using them. Also allow the ingredients to mix fully before adding the next egg. Now we're moving on to the dry ingredients. Transfer the flour, baking powder, and baking soda into a sieve. Sift this out, then whisk it up to make sure everything is well incorporated. Add about 1/4 cup of the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients, then mix. Alternate with the milk and lemon juice mixture from earlier until everything has been added. After everything was added in, I used my spatula to scrape down the bottom of the bowl and to give everything one last mix. I decided that I wanted to add a little bit of food coloring to the batter to make sure that the yellow color really came through after baking. This is completely optional. Begin dishing out the batter to each cupcake paper. You want these to be filled up pretty high. Tap the pan down a couple of times to get rid of the air bubbles, then bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes. I ended up having some extra batter, so I made 2 of these loaves of cake as well. Now let's start on the frosting. The very first thing that you should do is take your butter out of the fridge. The butter needs to be pretty soft for meringue-based buttercreams. This next step is optional, but I think it adds a lot of flavor to the frosting. Zest a lemon, then mince it up with a sharp knife to make sure it's super fine. Then add the zest into a plastic bag with 1 1/4 cups of sugar. Scrunch it up and mash it around for a few minutes to help the lemon flavor infuse into the sugar. Then set it aside. Next, separate your eggs. I find that the easier way to do this is to scoop them out with my hands. You can save the egg yolks for a curd, flan, or other egg yolk-based confection. Add the lemon sugar from earlier to the egg whites. Whisk it super well. Then place it over a bain-marie or a saucepan with a very small amount of boiling water in it. We are gently cooking the eggs so that it's safe to eat. Remember that the water shouldn't be high enough to touch the bottom of the bowl. Heat this, whisking frequently until you can't feel any sugar granules between your fingers anymore. Transfer it into the bowl of your stand mixer, and yes, you definitely need an electric mixer for this part, and beat for about 8 minutes. It sounds like a long time, but the mixture needs time to cool down before the next steps. You can even pack the bowl with the contents of your freezer to speed up the process. Once the mixture reaches room temp, switch to a paddle attachment and begin adding the soft butter in 1 tablespoon amounts at a time until all of it is in. Give it one last beat, and now you can add in the flavorings, which are salt, which will balance out the sweetness, lemon juice, which is completely optional if you don't want the frosting to have a little lemon too, and vanilla, which helps enhance that frosting taste. I also added in a touch of yellow food coloring, which is also optional. I'm using a closed star tip to decorate these cupcakes, but an open star tip would look great as well. Fill up your piping bag and then twist the excess plastic to secure it. For the first frosting design, I did a tall classic swirl, mainly for appearance purposes. Start in the center, applying a small, even amount of pressure as you slowly layer your way up. Gently release and flick your hand to finish it off, and then you can add an optional sprinkling of lemon zest. For the second cupcake, I did this unique design that I kind of just came up with on the fly. One little peak in the center and then 7 other ones around it, 4 on the middle layer, and 1 tall one on top. For the third one, I did a simple large peak that starts in the middle and you just squeeze upwards until you're happy with the width. This one uses a lot less frosting and still looks great. For the last cupcake design, I did the same thing as the last one, but I twisted my wrist a little to make it more interesting. Enjoy!